The Victor Gyökeres paradox is real, and it might be the clearest example yet of why Arsenal's most misunderstood player has quietly proven everyone wrong. Before anyone rushes to dismiss this, it's worth taking a step back and really looking at what unfolded at Stamford Bridge, because that Carabao Cup semi-final revealed something fundamental about this Arsenal side that many fans and pundits are still failing to grasp. For months, the debate around Gyökeres has been loud and relentless, questioning whether he is good enough, whether he fits Arteta's system, and whether Arsenal made the wrong call by backing him. While the noise has focused almost entirely on goals, assists, and flashy highlights, something far more important has been developing in plain sight. It took that Chelsea game, a goal, an assist, and even a strange post-match interaction with the opposition manager to finally expose the truth, and the truth is that this story is not really about Gyökeres at all. It is about the type of team Arsenal are becoming under Mikel Arteta and whether fans are willing to understand and accept that evolution. Everything from that Chelsea match connects, the performance itself, Arteta's reaction, and even that unexpected pat on the back from Liam Rossinier, all pointing toward the same uncomfortable reality. Arsenal are building a side where contribution outweighs individual glory, where the unseen work matters just as much as what ends up in highlight packages, and Gyökeres has become the living symbol of that philosophy, whether people like it or not. Arteta's post-match comments were revealing because he didn't simply praise the goal and assist. He went deeper, explaining that what Gyökeres brings overall is far more than most people can appreciate, and that statement says everything. It wasn't arrogance, it was the confidence of a manager fully committed to a long-term vision, one so clear that he is willing to endure criticism in the short term because he trusts where it leads. Rewind to late December and the pressure surrounding Gyökeres was intense, with months without an open play goal and articles questioning whether he was a flop. Instead of demanding more goals, Arteta gave him a simple instruction: keep insisting, keep making the runs, keep occupying defenders, keep creating space, and keep doing the invisible work that doesn't trend on social media but transforms how a team functions. That trust paid off, not because Gyökeres suddenly became a different finisher, but because he stayed committed to the process. His goal against Chelsea came from relentless movement, being in the right place again and again, and his assist came from drawing defenders and opening space for teammates. This is modern Arsenal under Arteta, a team built on accumulating small advantages rather than relying on moments of individual brilliance, and that demands players who are willing to sacrifice personal acclaim for collective success. What made the Chelsea match even more revealing was what happened after Gyökeres left the pitch with Arsenal leading comfortably. Chelsea suddenly looked more dangerous, found space, and nearly turned a controlled game into chaos, even after Arsenal added more attacking talent. On paper, that should not have happened, but it did, and the reason was simple: Gyökeres was no longer there doing the unglamorous work of pinning defenders back and maintaining structure. Arsenal scored 3 goals with him on the pitch and almost lost control once he was gone, yet the narrative will always focus on him finally delivering rather than acknowledging that he had been delivering all along in ways most people were not measuring. This is the paradox of modern football analysis, where endless data still gets reduced to goals and assists because they are easy to package and easy to debate. The moment with Rossinier summed this up perfectly, as social media erupted over what was seen as misplaced respect, while missing the reality that experienced managers recognize impact beyond the obvious. Rossinier had just spent 90 minutes dealing with a striker who made life miserable through intelligence, movement, and relentless pressure, and that pat on the back was respect for a game plan executed to perfection. The fact that some Arsenal fans were more annoyed by that gesture than encouraged by Gyökeres' contribution says a lot about how scarred the fan base has become after years of near misses. The bigger context matters too, because Arsenal have not lifted a major trophy since 2020, and every decision is judged through that lens. In that environment, persisting with a divisive striker without eye-catching numbers is a bold statement of belief in process over panic. The Chelsea semi-final showed why, with Arsenal scoring 3 goals after managing just 1 across their previous 8 cup semi-final legs combined, highlighting how desperately this team needed someone who could make the system work in big games. Gyökeres may not fit the traditional image of an Arsenal striker, but judged by whether he improves the team's collective performance, the answer becomes far more nuanced. There are still valid questions, about consistency, about whether this approach can hold in a title run-in, and about whether Arsenal have become tactically dependent on him, but those questions are part of growth, not failure. Whether Gyökeres ultimately succeeds or not, he represents something larger: Arteta's commitment to system over stardom, collective function over individual flair, and long-term vision over short-term approval. Arsenal have tried shortcuts before, chasing star names and quick fixes, and none of it delivered sustained success. What might finally work is building a side with such a strong collective identity that every role matters, from the star midfielder to the misunderstood striker. That Chelsea performance, the goal, the assist, the instruction to keep insisting, and the respect from the opposition all point to the same conclusion: Arsenal are becoming a team that wins through intelligence, structure, and sacrifice, and Gyökeres may be the perfect symbol of that shift. Alongside this, the so-called Trossard revolution tells an equally important story, because his performance against Chelsea was not a surprise but confirmation of Arsenal's deeper transformation. What links his display, Martinelli's hat-trick days earlier, and the seamless rotation across the squad is the emergence of genuine, suffocating depth, where rotation no longer means compromise and competition fuels improvement. Trossard's resurgence at 31 is not about sudden physical growth but about confidence, trust, and an environment that demands and rewards excellence. Arteta has created a culture where being dropped is not an end but a challenge, where form is earned, and where squad players are capable of dominating elite opponents. The Chelsea match was not just a 3-2 win, it was proof that this Arsenal side can absorb pressure, rotate without losing intensity, and maintain standards across competitions. There are still warning signs, defensive lapses, questions about consistency, and the risk of injuries, but the bigger picture is impossible to ignore. Arsenal are no longer hoping for moments of brilliance to save them, they are building a machine designed to grind through challenges. The real story is not the scoreline or the headlines, but what it all means for where this club is heading, because this quiet transformation, driven by belief, competition, and collective sacrifice, may finally be the foundation that brings trophies back to the Emirates. The idea of the Victor Gyökeres paradox has never felt more relevant, because once again Arsenal's most debated and misunderstood player has forced everyone to take a second look. This is not just another post-match overreaction or a short-term narrative built on one good night. What happened at Stamford Bridge opened a window into something much deeper, something that explains where Arsenal are going under Mikel Arteta and why so many people are still judging this team by outdated standards. For months, the conversation around Gyökeres has been stuck in the same loop. Is he clinical enough? Does he fit the system? Did Arsenal make the right decision backing him? And why doesn't he dominate highlight reels the way fans expect a striker to do? While those debates raged on, a far more important story was unfolding quietly. It took a Carabao Cup semi-final, a decisive goal, a clever assist, and even an awkward but telling moment involving the Chelsea manager to finally shine a light on the truth. And that truth is uncomfortable for many people, because this is not really about Gyökeres as an individual. It is about the identity Arsenal are building and whether supporters are ready to accept that success no longer looks the way it used to. Everything from that Chelsea match fits together when you zoom out: the way Arsenal played, Arteta's calm but pointed comments afterward, and even the respect shown by Liam Rossinier on the touchline. All of it points to one clear message. Arsenal are becoming a team where contribution outweighs individual glory, where the unseen work matters just as much as goals, and where players are valued for how they serve the collective rather than how they brand themselves. Gyökeres, whether he wants that role or not, has become the embodiment of that philosophy. When Arteta spoke after the match, his words were revealing. He did not dwell on the goal or the assist in isolation. Instead, he emphasized everything Gyökeres brings to the team and acknowledged that many people struggle to appreciate it. Reading between the lines, Arteta was effectively saying that the coaching staff see value others refuse to see, and that they are comfortable trusting their vision even if public opinion turns against them. That is not arrogance, it is conviction. It is the mindset of a manager who understands that lasting success comes from consistency and belief, not from chasing approval. Looking back to December makes this even clearer. Gyökeres had gone weeks without an open play goal, the pressure was rising, and the familiar labels started to appear. Flop, mistake, wrong fit. In that moment, Arteta did not demand more goals or sharper finishing. He told him to keep insisting, to keep running, to keep dragging defenders out of position, and to keep creating space for others. In other words, to keep doing the work that rarely makes highlight packages but fundamentally shapes how a team functions. That instruction was not accidental. It was a test of trust, and Gyökeres passed it. The break